Nick was trying to break into movies, a feat that demanded the move. Which was fine with me, exciting even. I was writing a weekly travel column for a newspaper in Philadelphia, and since I'd been traveling for the paper an average of 200 days a year anyway, they were more than willing to let my new home base be Los Angeles. And so I turned on Roman Holiday, feeling solid in my job, solid in my relationship, solid in my decision to go west, feeling there was little that the movie could mess with. A part of me, maybe, even wanting to prove to myself there was little it could mess with. But halfway through, the bad didn't even wait until the end that time, the telephone rang. The house we were supposed to move into in Venice, the house where we'd already shipped 80% of our belongings, had burned down. No one seemed to know the cause. I knew the cause. And yet, there I was, 4 years later, 32 days shy of my 32nd birthday, and what was I doing? At some point, don't you get Pavlovian about it? The movie had hurt me enough times, or, at the very least, I had several of the most uncomfortable experiences of my life in bizarrely close proximity to watching it. How could I not associate it with that pain? Why would I watch it again? Here's why. I loved the movie. What When Harry Met Sally was to some of my girlfriends, or Field of Dreams was to Nick, Roman Holiday was to me. It was my comfort movie. It was, quite simply, my comfort. Yes, my mother had admitted that she'd named me in part after Audrey Hepburn's Princess Anne. How could any young girl watch that movie without wanting to be Audrey Hepburn? But it was much more than that. Part of it might be that I was a reporter myself, a travel writer. My column, Checking Out, was meant to provide a guide for how best to explore the most exotic and interesting places in the world. A complete guide to enjoying the exciting cities / special towns / tiny islands in the middle of the Indian Ocean that might be hard to navigate otherwise. Not surprisingly, I'd devoted my first column to Rome. Truthfully, it was as much an ode to Roman Holiday, to the experience of watching Princess Anne and reporter Joe Bradley, Gregory Peck, explore the Eternal City and escape their real lives. That's what I loved about my job, being able to explore the world, to constantly escape. But somewhere deep inside, I'd always wondered if, like Audrey's Princess Anne, I wasn't just hoping that if I fell asleep on a park bench in one of the hundreds of cities I visited, I'd wake up and get to spend a day living the exact life I always dreamed of. The other reason I loved the movie had to do with the quality of the romance between Bradley and Anne, its incandescent charm, the happiness beneath its every beat. It led me to convince myself, as a logical person, that my tragedies couldn't possibly have anything to do with a movie that was so romantic, so full of hope. Or they wouldn't. Not this time. So there I was, at a not this time moment again. 31, complacent, sleepy. My brilliant and beautiful dog, Amelia, named after the original fantastic traveler and explorer, Amelia Earhart, we called her Mila for short, and I had the morning to ourselves. Nick was working. He was a movie director, currently shooting his second movie, a thriller about vampires taking over Washington, D.C. Since his first film, a road trip movie, not A Vampire Anywhere to be Seen, had been well received at a film festival, where it was apparently important to be well received, he was experiencing his first taste of fame. I was so excited for him. For us, really. I had been there during the salad days, when we were shooting his short films on the street. Me as both key grip and leading lady. His sister as producer. Our dog Mila as Dog Mila. And yet, since his newfound success, Nick had become slightly exhausting in the way he talked about his work.